episode 71. This week I'm reviewing Thor: The Dark World, because now every sequel has to have dark in it, like Star Trek Into Darkness or The Dark Knight. I think it started with The Dark Knight and everybody was like, hey, that seemed to work. What if we don't bother making a great sequel, but we just put the word dark in it, and people will think it's going to be a very morose, intense experience with the sequel, and then it ends up just having the word dark in the title and not being that intense. Thor, and all these movies now, these Marvel movies, they're just in service of the Avengers. There's going to be a sequel to the Avengers in 2015. Thor: The Dark World, I don't even know if I should bore you with the plot, but basically this movie felt like an okay superhero movie or a bad Star Wars movie or a mediocre Star Wars movie. Basically, before everything existed, not even going to bother with the plot because it's going to make women dry up and nerds masturbate, two things I don't want to occur. Basically, there's a big sci-fi plot with goblin-looking things, and a guy with a magic hammer, Thor, has to save the day. What I will say is this movie is but it does well. The best thing it does well is it has well-timed humor, well-placed humor, and the humor, as far as this genre of movies goes, is pretty good. The action scenes are pretty solid, but my same complaint with the first Thor: too much outer space, too much other galaxy, too much CGI. I always like the interactions more in these movies and the time they spend on Earth more than I do the majority of the movie in the far-off galaxy of bullshit. That said, Chris Hemsworth plays Thor, very solid. And there's this one scene, and now I think I start to feel how women feel when they go to the movies and there's just gratuitous nudity. There's literally like a 9-second scene where he's just kind of bathing himself, and the dude's jacked out of his mind. But it was so misplaced and useless that I was like, oh, they're giving chicks at this movie who don't want to watch CGI goblins from outer space battle a fictional, demigod from further out of outer space. So they put the buff dude washing himself off just so women go, oh, okay, ladies, still probably not worth your $14.50 or your man's $14.50 that's dragging you to the movie. But there is that little, morsel for you, I guess. One of the villains is played by this British Jared Leto guy. He's very solid, and he's really perfected the sinister smile to the point of enough already, we get it, you're a sinister, charismatic villain, easy with the smile, but he's very good, as are British actors, better than American actors, because we just recruit nice-looking people and tell them to memorize lines, whereas the Brits kind of make their actors train and become classically trained quality actors. Anyway, Natalie Portman keeps getting better with age. She is beautiful, and she's okay in the movie, but she's very pretty, so that's nice, I guess. I know I think I've seen pretty negative about the movie, but I really wasn't. I kind of enjoyed it for what it is, like a mid-tier comic book movie. Like I said, they execute the humor very well. I give it a B for what it is. A comic book movie. I like them generally. I don't love them, but I generally enjoy them. And this is a nice hour and 50-minute escape. I've already listed my complaints, but for what this is, if you're big into these movies, I think you might not like it that much, other than the humor, which they really sort of nail for this genre. And they kind of rip off Monsters, Inc. at the end of the movie. I'm not going to tell you what the end of the movie is, but they kind of rip off Monsters, Inc., so take that for what it's worth. And for you losers who like to stay late at the movies, which I do for your benefit, and because I also want to know what happens, apparently Benicio del Toro plays something in, I guess, the Avengers. He's going to be the new villain because this is what they're leaking. You'll see it when you watch the movie, but that's the early sort of sneak peek. Then there's another end clip. So this one has two end clips. One at the end of... If you watch these movies, you know what I'm talking about. There's two things you need to stay for. One, 30 seconds after the credits, and then one all the way at the end of the credits. So there. Now you know you have to stay till the very, very, very end. So a B for Thor: The Dark World. whatever. You don't have to see it. But it's okay. You won't hate it. That's it. There's the review for this week. I'll review something next week. Who knows what it'll be. But have a good week. Subscribe to the channel. Thanks.
Wanna get that feeling, gotta get that feeling.